And get our recording going. So let's just get going. I don't want to take up any more of anyone's time talking about myself. I'd love to introduce you all, which most of you probably already know, the infamous Kayla Childress. She is the founder of Mindful Luxury. She is most certainly a world changer. And just to give you a little bit of history on her, she has spent a number of years working through and with some of the largest companies in the beauty industry. And a few years ago, she launched Mindful Luxury to put her executive leadership talents to work for her clients. And now Kayla gives emerging brands a path toward broader success. And in turn, she exposes her spa clients to exciting and enriching products that delight her customers. And she also has a keen expert insight that help their businesses grow, as well as spa operations. She gets to see it all from both sides, which is amazing. And she's an incredible partner to all of those spas and spa directors that she works with. So I will hand it over to Miss Kayla to
Wow, what an introduction. I feel like a celebrity. That was so sweet. And I just love and adore all of you. I know a lot of you on this call. And for those that I don't know, I hope we can get to know each other, whether you're on the vendor, consulting, spa director side. I like to believe that I'm a connector of humans. So I just feel like it's really my passion, my love, my passion. What I like to do is to create heartmark for people. So, Holly kind of called out, like, I have been working in the industry a really long time. I'm embarrassed to say because it makes me sound super old, but I've been in the industry about 30 plus years now. And I had the grand pleasure of the first, I guess, 20, maybe 15 years of being on the operations side. So I used to manage Frederick Fekkai in New York and other locations out there on the salon and spa side. So I feel your pain when it comes to operations. I've been there, I've done that, and it's really how I got rooted in the industry. And then I moved over to the vendor side about 20 years ago and just have stayed rooted, and I absolutely love what I do. Mindful Luxury was launched 5 years ago with just the want and need for being an entrepreneur. Of course, like everything, it has its ups and downs. So, today we're really just going to spend some time. I want this to be interactive. I don't want to be, the star talking the whole time today. So with each slide that we're going to go through, I really want to open it up for us to have genuine conversation. We're in some very interesting new times, and we all have our crystal ball and trying to figure out, like, what are we up in for the next year or two. And we really don't know. These are times of uncertainty, and I think in our industry we've always been known as connectors. It's what keeps me here and makes me love all of you and this business so much. But I think now more than ever, we have to connect even more. We're little floundering fishes out here right now, just trying to figure out what to do and what's next. So all of the things that we knew, prior to this, we're kind of rewriting the manual, so to speak, right? So I really want us to talk today and open up about what we're doing in certain areas of our business to help with sales and really strategizing, and what you're doing as a vendor or a spa director really to help with that. So I am going to I'm going to screen share and put up my PowerPoint here. You guys let me know when you can see it. I'm going to blow her up. If it's too big, tell me. Can you guys see it okay? Did I get a yes? Did I get a Yahoo? Everyone's muted.
It looks beautiful.
So welcome. Thank you, Holly, for having me. You're a dynamo. You're so amazing, and I really appreciate it. So this is a little bit about me. I have to share a couple of things before I go into sales strategy and the boring stuff. Just kidding, it's fun. That is my daughter Grace and our dog Cosmo. So I have a 12-year-old daughter. Her name is Grace. And to pay homage to her, we actually started a nonprofit. So it is how Mindful Luxury gives back to community. We started a nonprofit this year called Giving Grace. And Giving Grace helps to support our community, in need families, the homeless. And what you're seeing this image here of all this food is we support the little free pantries closest to us. So I have 35 volunteers that I help manage, that we fill these little free pantries in low income housing areas to feed the community on a daily basis. So along with everything else I do, I love doing this too. And I think that it's been probably one of the greatest things about COVID, one of those silver linings. So about me, you know, Holly really went through all of that, so I'm not going to bore you guys. You can read all about us on my website. As I shared, we're in really new and different times, so this is a platform where we can really talk about that and what we're doing and share with one another. So getting started, you know, one of the things that I feel I've had to do in business during COVID, and I'm hearing all throughout our industry, is planning has become so important, really the key to success. Planning. We were planning before, but now we're planning even more. And we're having to do that because we're in this new kind of normal. When it comes to planning, I always say try to make it fun, and fun can mean very different things for all of you. I'm a big fan of like printing cool calendars off of Pinterest, or finding a template that's really neat for me to use on a daily basis. So I've been doing that. And then I'm also looking at like reporting more than I ever have. You know, I think reporting for most of us is probably the wah, you know, it's something that we have to do to really gauge where we're at as a business. But I think now more than ever, it's become really the base, you know, it's the crux of our business and what we need to look at, even though those numbers are like all over the place and probably aren't even, you know, what we're seeing from last year. So I think that reviewing our reporting and really getting granular with that is super important for you to be able to plan appropriately. And I also feel that sales within our spa, from all of my years in the industry, and you guys, I'm going to open it up when I finish with this slide. I had seen a lot being on the vendor side from, you know, I'll go into a spa and we will brainstorm, come up with services, service upgrades. You know, we'll talk about training, education, online sales, all of these things. And what I find that you guys are most challenged with is the doing part. You know, you're almost like your own business within this resort, hotel, spa. And so having to partner with a lot of people outside the business has been really tough. And I think that it's becoming super important now that we're in this time of COVID. So, you know, it's really partnering and planning with your resort and hotel property as well. For us vendors, it's really connecting with your PR, your social, your marketing, your operations, and really doing things that we haven't normally done, or we've done minimally. You know, I call it stepping outside of the box. So really making sure you're looking at area of opportunity and planning accordingly. I also think giving back to community is a great way to boost your sales. If anything, a great way to feel better. There's a lot of statistics out there around giving back to community. I did not start Giving Grace to make money. I started Giving Grace as a feel good, to create Heartmark, and to have Mindful Luxury involved with something on a community level. So let's kind of discuss what you do to plan, what's worked for you in the planning, and how planning in COVID has looked different for you. I'm going to throw that out to you guys and see who wants to share. Not all at once.
Don't be shy. I'll call on you.
Uh-oh. Planning.
All right, I'll start the ball.
Oh, there
because I'm
she is.
working on something right now.
Oh my God, I love it.
So something that I've never really had to dive deep into is our phone logs. You know, something you would just typically, you have regular reservations, it's a set time, and you just go with it. You don't typically modify it. Whereas maybe if you had more time, you might dive into it in order to, work on productivity and things like that. But now it's everything. I mean, in order for me to maintain my 7 days a week of reservations, I have to prove how many calls we're answering, how many we're missing, how many voicemails we're getting, and what the time frame of that looks like, what are our heavy call days, and just diving deep into it. So it's just one example, just planning around now when the guests are calling and what our capture looks like on every day of the week. Just a new report to add on to that report file.
Yeah, that's incredible. And what are you seeing? Are you seeing an influx of guest calls during certain times?
Well, we definitely get a lot in the morning and then in the later afternoon. So it's the middle of the day, of course, when people are at work, that it's quite quiet. So it's determining whether 9 to 5 reservations are going to be appropriate, or if we're going to need somebody at night until 7 or 8 p.m. to answer those calls, or if they are leaving messages. And that's what I'm trying to determine, if after 5 o'clock they understand that, okay, I'm calling late, I'm going to leave a message, or if they're calling and just hanging up and then we've potentially missed it. Although we're stalking the guests now compared to normal, and we're calling them back, which typically if you have a missed call, you don't go through your call logs and then call them back. So that's part of the new normal too.
Wow, I love it. Phone logs, who knew? Anybody else getting a little granular and getting creative with their planning? It's interesting.
John, I know you got something to say.
A little different. We opened about 2.5 months ago, and I feel that my planning, on getting the doors open and then once the doors open was huge. But I'm so down in the minutia, second to second, not even minute to minute, hour to hour. That ultimately, the note I wrote down is, where is the time to plan and get my reporting done at the moment? I currently scrub my toilets. I currently answer the phones. I currently do all the other stuff that I had other people doing before. Obviously highly important, but unfortunately my plan that I had is currently running its course, and I haven't put effort or time into the new plan.
John, it speaks to all the multi-hats that I think that spa directors are wearing now. So from what I'm hearing as far as planning and what you're dealing with, is part of my plan is literally my schedule. 3 hours in the morning, I'm scrubbing toilets and housekeeping, and then I'm on the phones because I'm having to be the receptionist. So, I'm also hearing that side of planning, which I know is really difficult, that you guys are having to wear all of these hats. So even trying to plan some of these things is at the bottom of the list right now. So I get it. Anyone else?
I think just a little observation that I have too, again, kind of at this point, the outside looking in. I think when it comes to some of the planning suggested in here, the sales within our spas can come from many resources, right? Planning those upgrades, planning the retail sales, planning what you're going to do, or what your goal is for gift card sales and that kind of thing right now. Maybe taking a back seat for a lot of these operators who are just trying to keep their heads above water. And they are wearing multiple hats. And, we have, a lot of our current spa members are hardly ever even able to join these calls right now, or they come on late because they intend to come, they want to come, but all what breaks loose for whatever reason, whether it's phones ringing, guest upset about wearing a mask or whatever. But I think now is such a great time too, and I'm hearing this from all of our vendor friends, that our vendor partners are really, they're there to support, and they're there to almost provide this solution for you without you really having to do anything except answer their phone call for a few minutes or respond to an email and say, hey, yes, September 5th works. Whatever you want to do, let's just do it. I'll just see you live or I'll see you virtually. Let's just get it on the calendar and make it happen. And all of these vendors are working very hard, also wearing multiple hats, right? Because a lot of you that are vendors, you don't have your teams anymore, or at all, or you have just a couple, or they're still on furlough or whatever. So take advantage of that as an operator, those insights, that support, that time that they have to plan, so they can help support your business right now when you're really just got your hands tied.
Cannot agree more. I mean, I literally had a buyer spa director ask me the other day, can you just put a plan together for me and keep it simple? So that's what we're here for. If I've always felt like a vendor partner should be like a business consultant for you. And I think reach out to them now more than ever, especially if you're one of those spa directors having to wear multiple hats, which you are. So talk to them about service and service upgrades. What can they do to help, you with that plan? Don't feel like you have to plan everything. This is where, we talked about connecting now more than ever to get that help that you need. Some of the things that I see with services and service upgrades are the simplest things, like making sure your latest updated menus on your website. It seems really simple, but I do find a lot of locations don't keep this up to date. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with just time and getting it done. But that'll, I think, help save time on the flip side of when a guest is calling and asking about treatments and things that are on your menu. If it's not updated, you're going to be having some, uncomfortable conversations. I'm also seeing a lot of spas creating QR codes within their spas to create a touchless experience, almost like what restaurants are doing. So they're not having to hand out or touch menus. Service upgrades and services, services have been reduced on our menus during COVID to accommodate staff changes and in the spa and salon. You can still create, things that feel luxury and simple, during this. Remember, consumers are excited just to get a 60-minute treatment. I mean, I think I was doing my happy dance with a bottle of wine, the day before my hair appointment. I could not wait for something just to get my roots touched up. So, we can create luxury still in time of COVID with scent, with gifting. Again, it's all about vendors. What can you do for me? Can you give me sample packets? Can you give me GWPs to help with this experience? We're all about supporting you. And I can promise you that we want to. The other thing that I'm seeing becoming really popular is considering an entire separate menu for men and teens. I think men or teens have kind of sat within a menu, but now I'm seeing a totally separate, men's section, or teens, if you can accommodate our teens as well. I think, again, during COVID, it's a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of servicing a category that hasn't been huge for us. I know I have a 12-year-old daughter that has literally watched television all day while I've worked. I would absolutely love it if she could go somewhere and have a service. Make sure you have upgrades for each category of your services. The other thing that I've seen within spas is we have upgrades for facials usually, but I'm not seeing upgrades in a lot of the other categories that we offer, whether it's massage, it's nails, it's hair care. and really having some structure around that, meaning you've got scripts, you're helping to train your staff. I know I'm kind of speaking a little pre-COVID and the time that we can do all of these things, but even if it's, again, reaching out to your vendors to get help with the training side and to develop these things, it's what we're here for. So services and service upgrades, I'd love to reach out to you guys, open it up right now and have you share with the group, like what's been working and what hasn't been. Let's talk about services in your current menu. Anyone? Bueller?
It could also be a good time for our vendors to maybe share some of the successes that you're having with some of your current spa partners as well. Please feel free to join in this conversation, because this is not just about one side, right? All the feedback is great. So please feel
Love
free.
it.
Well, I guess so I'm a vendor.
Hi, vendor.
From Epicurean. So John.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I've been joining these from all the different angles. And one of the first ones, some of the spa directors were saying how they were interested in us solving their problems, right? So from the beginning, we'd done free drop shipping to your clients when your doors were closed, and samples and welcome back goodie bags, and and our recent thing was I kind of led the charge because of these to do treatments that were around the mask. So if someone wasn't willing to take the mask off, we had 2 different eye treatments in the décolleté and the hand and arm massage. And so kind of my challenge is getting, because the spot, everyone's so busy, and like you said, it's hard to get them to just answer the call for a second. And so that I can let them know that I have this, and so I guess that's really my challenge, is I have all these tools in my toolbox, and I'm getting that through. It's just really getting through the noise is really difficult. But so that's kind of my challenge. But
I think this is going to be one of those peaks and valleys for us. We have some spas that have been open, as John said, for 2.5 months, but we have others that haven't even reopened yet.
Yeah.
So I think some of these things are going to be it's already happened for me as a vendor or a spa, and then I think others are going to take time. So again, this is just about bouncing ideas and things that have worked for each other. I've been a queen of just sending samples and GWPs. I'm really grateful that I work with brands that are kind of giving me carte blanche to do that. So, incorporating that into service to create value add. I'm almost taking this approach of the 2008 economy tank that we had, and rethinking of what I did to kind of drum up business as a vendor then, and to help my spa directors. And GWPs and sampling was probably the biggest win for me, and helping them with their menus. So next, retail sales. Again, I know I'm coming from the vendor side and talking about all the things that us vendors can do, but I think navigating through our retail sales right now has become really difficult. But for those that have gotten creative, they're really personalizing and making the experience a lot more intimate. We're having to do things like take all of our merchandise out of our retail space. And we've got, a museum sitting in our retail space now. So really reach out to those vendors, get signage from them to put up if they've had to take down their, retail. Another success story, bringing testers into the treatment room and closing the sale within the treatment. So at the end of the service, instead of the esthetician or the therapist taking the guest to the front desk usually helps close the sale, layer in a few extra minutes. I know it's tough, but go ahead and do that to be able to have them close the sale for you. Ask your vendors, can I get several sets of testers for the treatment rooms so we can close the sale? That's been the #1 biggest success stories that I've had. And if your products do have samples, see if you can get samples. They're not as eco-friendly. I'm really on this mission to support sustainability, and one-time use products and little throwaway sachets just aren't super eco-friendly. However, we have to be cognizant of our ROI. We need to see sales. So if it means right now I've got to use them until I don't have to use them, then go for it. Make sure you have scripts for your providers. Again, ask your vendors to help you with this. Happy to make them. I've done them for years. And this is a kind of a simple thing, but I do find with some spas that their vision doesn't totally align with the image of their spa. Meaning, if you're a super organic, healthy Canyon Ranch, but you're carrying products that maybe, I don't know, are not that image, you might want to rethink that and make changes now. Right now, it's we're somewhat in a downtime. I know that a lot of inventory is kind of whittled. You don't have much in backstock, so it might be a good time to think about bringing in new brands that fit your image a little bit better. The next thing that I do, this is super fun if you can make this happen. I think our biggest challenge is retail sales, right? Like a lot of our people just don't like to sell. Our retail sales can be anywhere from 5 to 10%. Sometimes I hear 20 or 30 and I'm like oohing and eyeing if that's the case. So pair your team up with each other. Maybe get someone that's a little bit of a better retailer than someone else and have them pair up and be each other's teammates and cheerleaders. Really have them hold each other accountable. You can even encourage maybe some contests for the groups that sell or meet their goal. I love contests. I think that, doing that to create and reach goals is really fun, and putting signage in the break room. I've done treasure chests where they can pull gift cards out for the winners. So again, everything that I have listed here, you could literally ask your vendor for. And if you can't ask your vendor for it, I might put a big question mark if that's the vendor you should be working with. So sorry, vendor friends, if you're on here, but it is what we need to be doing, with our brands. I know that budgets are tight, but it's really not difficult to create a sign or to give some samples. Some of these things are just doing and don't really cost a lot of money. So what are you guys doing with retail sales that are a success for you that you can share with the group today? Anyone? I'm gonna start calling.
I know. Start calling on people. I'll actually share from, it looks like Christy might have something to say, yeah?
Oh, go.
Christy,
yeah, so yesterday I spoke to one of my clients, Cable Mountain Lodge in Utah. They're at the entrance to Zion National Park. They're getting ready to open their spa August 3rd. So the spa director is doing everything you can imagine. At least she's had time and she's been working through all of this. But one of the things she mentioned was they're redoing retail to be more of like a home goods store, but to have other things in there besides traditional spa products, what we think of as spa retail. They're doing other items. So I'm interested to find out more about the types of things that she brings in beyond skincare, and just what some of these other categories and brands are. And they're trying this as an experiment. So yeah, while they build their spa occupancy and their revenue, the hotel has had good occupancy, which is great. But they're branching out to look at other ways to make retail exciting and diversified.
And what are you guys doing for the spa directors I have on the call? What are you doing for testers and your retail display? Have you had to rejigger what you have going on?
Hi, me again.
Hey, me again.
So we took the testers off the shelves particularly, but we still have them available for the guest. We just clean them, of course, after the guest utilizes them. And then in regards to the retail look at the moment, it is thinner than normal. There's less touch points, so less products on the shelves, in the sense of, instead of having 5 of one product out, we have just 2, just for that visual look. It just doesn't go as far back, but
Sure.
honestly, it looks better. So
Yeah.
it's actually working, since it looks cleaner. It's easier to find what you're looking for. And in general, to also what you were talking about, we've been doing a lot of drop shipping as well, since buying retail right now is not as easy as it used to be. So our vendor partners have been working with us in the sense of making sure that we can get items shipped out to our guests, and they just invoice us for it, and we charge the guests. So it all works out in the end.
So you've gone to a museum look. I love it. Most have. Is that Christy?
Yeah, so regarding the testers, I'm curious for the spa directors. Are guests asking for a tester sample? You know, you put the signs out in retail and say, please ask us for, you know, a sample or tester, and it's behind the front desk. Are the guests following through and asking for that?
They've asked for, like, if they want to smell a certain type of tea. But when it comes to skincare, they just, honestly, they listen to us and they let us educate them on the product. They don't really need to feel it, because we let them know whether it's that creamy feel or that foamy feel, and they take our word for it. They don't actually ask to utilize it, surprisingly.
Are you doing testers in the treatment rooms?
She had mentioned that, so that's on my list. I only have one esthetician right now, so I will have my other one back next week, and she is a super out of the box thinker, so I really look forward to having her back, and we can figure out how we're going to make that work. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
If I could, you know, interject to share a couple of things, and I will also share one of the comments too. I think, you know, don't limit yourself to just the esthetician, right? There's such an opportunity with your massage therapist, and we all know that they don't sell. We all know that. But if you can encourage them and not use the word sell, right? I would always tell my team, I don't want to turn you into salespeople. That's not what you do. You heal people and you care for people. And you're showing that extra extension of personal care for them when you make that recommendation based on what you've heard your guest actually verbally say throughout the experience, or what their body has said throughout the experience. And say, you know, I heard what you said today. I heard that you said you were stressed out because of this and your body hurts because of that. So I'm going to put a couple of products out for you. Or these are the 2 things that I'm recommending you take home, because they really are going to help, and here's why. Because I personally used it, or I happen to know someone else that used this particular product and they said it really helped them through this particular time. I would also add to Christy's point with Table Mountain Lodge, I would love a connection with them, by the way, because we are expanding into the Rocky Mountain region next month. Just a little side note, but I would absolutely agree with this theory. And I know, you know, budgets are tight, and budgets for spa in general are tight. You know, before COVID. But I think it is so important to have an interesting mix in your retail boutiques for spa that is not just 100%, sorry vendors, but not just 100% the brands that you use in your treatment room, you know, or a mixture thereof, but ones that do add to your story, including home goods. Things like that you know, whether it's Sonoma lavender, which yes is a little spa-like, but the bathrobes, the clothing, the cocktail sneakers, even you know, there's a gal out there who has covers for like yoga mats and yoga things that are really beautiful. So those are things that I certainly, you know, recommend and had seen worked very well in the spa that I was just at. And we were upwards of, you know, 14% retail to service ratio, which was high, and that's not what I inherited. I will also add Estelle Mack notes that she is a student gaining information to open a spa in the near future. As far as testers, I would not recommend them on the floor just to cut down on contamination. If the client would need a sampling, I would provide that for them. And I think that's a good point. We do have some spas, you know, in our network here that have spoken to this before, and they have actually left their testers out, but they've said, please don't touch. They are much smaller, say boutiques, so they have an opportunity to perhaps leave the tester on the floor, but be able to say, let me go ahead and get that for you, and or let me give you a sample. So just some thoughts on
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
And
it. Love it.
Estelle, I'd love to know more about what you want to do.
Totally. Me too. So you said it best, Holly, you know, making sure that we are not just focusing on the esthetician. You know, for those of us that have kids, and even if you don't have kids, we've all heard this phrase, sharing is caring. And that is the word that I like to use instead of selling. You know, I know I've used it all throughout this, you know, presentation. However, it really is about sharing. And if all we're doing is sharing a few things with our guest of how it can improve their experience or how they feel, wonderful, we've done our job. So the next thing that I want to talk about is probably one of the biggest misses that I see in our space, especially on the resort and hotel side. I am not going to shame anyone because there's so many different departments within a resort spa to help make this happen. But I do feel like going through COVID, this is kind of where we found our pants down a little bit. It's very known that most resort hotel spas don't have a huge online presence as far as selling, other than booking hotel rooms. So gift card sales, even appointment booking has been a little slim. Retail sales have been somewhat non-existent. So I have been seeing this take a little bit of a different approach and look at future in some of our resort and hotel locations. So I think it's really like, how can the right hand work with the left hand to try to make this gap within a resort hotel happen? You know, it doesn't always necessarily mean it's all about online sales. Maybe you incorporate some digital marketing, which helps you go social, which can tie in bringing that consumer to your property. You know, you don't have to engage in every social media platform there is. I'll be honest, I'm probably not the best at it, but you don't have to do everything. It's find what you do well and stick to it. I find a lot of my spa friends will stick to blogging on their page and keep it at that. You can do videos as well. That's another really great option versus just posting on Facebook and Instagram. I also find with a lot of resort hotel locations that the spa isn't always plugged on the resort hotel social. And so they've created like their own separate, maybe it's, you know, I don't know, Canyon, I keep saying Canyon Ranch, you know, Canyon Ranch spa and having its own separate. So I don't know if you guys want to spend a lot of time on this. How can, you know, this look different for you? I know it's tough because you are dealing with a lot of different departments, but maybe you can share what you're doing to help with your online sales and digital marketing plan.
I know we only have a few spas on here, and I certainly have experienced that pain point as well, being that I pretty much always worked at a resort. And it is a challenge because no matter how many ideas you may have or how much content you could provide as a spa director to these other layers, I think it's difficult to get your what's your seat at the table, you know, your portion of the family dinner, right? Yeah. So I do think from a vendor perspective that being able to create an online presence for your partners would be huge help. And to make tagging your spa partners on a consistent basis would be hugely helpful from that social media standpoint. And so I know that that could be one way that, you know, when we're kind of sort of stuck in the middle here, our vendors can really, really help us with that.
Totally, and agree. And I think that goes back to that vendor selection. So when you're working with a vendor, you know, making sure that they have a strong social platform and that that is part of programming when you open with them or do business with them. So I think that's a really good point for sure. Next is sales outside your spa or salon. You know, I think that another miss that I've seen in my time on the vendor side is just how spas have to really, you know, be on their own. You know, there's a lot of disconnect around a property, and I'm seeing more and more of the connection happen now through COVID. And I do think that that's going to be permanent. I think that's a silver lining to all of this. You know, it's looking at check-in, check-out, your valet, parking, your restaurants, your pool, cabanas, all of these places listed here. It's how can you connect the spa to these places? Maybe check-in and check-out. It's a beautiful tray of product with signage. Valet, I know valet is not happening in a lot of properties right now due to COVID, but I used to give the valet companies sample packets to give out or to put on the seat of the cars when they would valet or park. You know, restaurants, they usually have communal, you know, restrooms at restaurants, or you could put signage, you know, at the table if allowed. The communal restrooms around property, if you could, maybe if you've got sanitizer or you've got body wash or hand wash, putting it in there and saying, you know, please visit our spa if you'd like to purchase this product, you know, coming up with menus for poolside and cabana, what you can do for in-guest room. You guys get the gist of, you know, what I'm sharing here. It's really trying to figure out how I can also work around property and what the property will allow me, you know, to do. And then lastly, your community, you know, what type of community outreach do you have? You know, is there an outreach from your spa to community, and what can your vendors do to help with that? Is it an event that, you know, you can put on for the locals in your community? A lot of resort hotel properties are membership. You know, what can you do for the members? Maybe they have something special from the spa and your brand that supports that membership. So signage, you know, support other employees too in other departments. I used to do trainings for the valet and the front desk. Of course, right now I haven't been doing those as much or really at all during COVID, but I'm definitely known for trying to touch other departments and giving away, you know, product when I can. And then also having the spa, you know, discount services or give away free services, maybe to the employee of the month or whatever it is. And then again, training. So sales outside your spa and salon, any ideas here that you guys could add that's worked for you? No.
I posted that Nesco has done a good job over the years. They did that when I was working on an opening in Hawaii, working with the pool department to sell the masks, their chilled masks out at the pool. It was just a whole other revenue stream and department, and it worked really well.
Yeah, and it does. It's, you know, I've had some really great success, like in guest room. You know, maybe it was a sunscreen brand that I was working with that I sold to the spa and the pool. And then the minis, you know, we put in the mini bars with signage in the hotel rooms. And that signage just basically was a bounce back to the spa. You can purchase a full size, you know, sunscreen or lip balm, whatever it was, at the spa. So it's those kind of programs that I've been a big fan of, you know, especially with the resort and hotel properties. And then giving back to community, you know,
Kayla, I know we're short on time. There might be some good insights from Jocelyn and John. I know you can't always necessarily see who's highlighted and unmuted, so I just wanted to let
oh, and so anyone want to share?
I'll jump
Uh,
in.
Yay.
Oh, I beat you, Jocelyn. Uh, I love some of these ideas. Definitely the training around property. The more people you have talking about you and for you, the better they're selling for you. My favorite one that I'm currently doing right now is each Wednesday in July and in August, I've invited all the concierge from all the properties around me to come visit at a extremely discounted rate. Because most of the properties around me don't have spas, or even if they do have spas, they are still only open a handful of days a week. And so I'm looking to have all the concierge, of course, refer to me after they've referred to their spa.
I love it. What a great idea, John. Very cool. Jocelyn, how about you, doll?
I was just going to piggyback on top of what she had mentioned in regards to Nesco. They're actually working with us right now on getting that menu going, because our pool right now is the hot spot because not a lot of pools are open. And some of our business, you know, the pool is bringing to us considering they can't get a reservation until later or only earlier, and or we're losing business because everybody's focused on the pool. So we're trying to bring the spa to the pool. So right now, I love that she mentioned it because Aldo is helping me out with all that.
Oh, that's so cool. Jocelyn, I've created some really amazing pool programs if you want to brainstorm,
Yes.
like kind of even outside of vendors, like product. I've created some really fun things. So we should talk about that offline.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I know we're short on time, so I'm going to buzz through this. You guys are going to get the presentation. I'm super happy to pass this along. But give back to community and make sure whatever organization you support, make it noticed around property and in your spa. Post signage. Have a treatment on your menu that part of the proceeds go to that organization. Plan ahead with those organizations for events and causes that they do to be able to raise money and awareness. I promise you it'll bring you sales threefold. So I won't spend a lot of time on that because I want to make sure that we hit on training and education, because I do feel like this is so important. My bullets are a little off here, so sorry. Again, look to your vendors for support. You know, look at them for product knowledge and protocol training, but also research other forms of training outside of your vendors. Here's what I have seen over the years. I go in and I do a bang up training on protocols and product knowledge. And half of these people, if not more, don't even know how to sell. They don't even know how to have the conversation. So I think it's really important outside of your vendors, make sure that your vendors give some other types of training, but also look at other forms like customer service, how to sell. Maybe choose some books that your team can read together that will help boost sales, you know, within the spa outside of what your vendors can give you. So I just think education and training your team is uber important. So keep going with that, even though we're in COVID times and you're shoestring staff and everyone's kind of doing what they can. Find some kind of time, even if it's every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever you can do, go for it. Anybody want to comment on training and education and what's worked for you?
I would just say that everybody should be unmuting at the same time. Training is paramount, right? I mean, no matter what aspect you're talking about in any business, right? Just having that knowledge. I mean, in ours, perhaps is, you know, more complex than maybe some other business types. But I mean, you know, you have to know every detail about everything that you carry in your retail and your back bar? Why do you carry it? Why is it a good partnership? Why does it, what's the benefit? What's a feature? Why would you recommend this product over that product, even though you have both brands on the shelf, right? Training on steps of service and how to greet someone or how to clean a treatment room. I mean, I don't think you can run a successful any business without education being number one.
Well, we're grass, right? We're all grass. And I know that sounds funny, but we need water to grow. And I think that we're always looking to grow, throughout our lifetime. And I think when we stop watering our grass is when we get really stagnant, stale, and probably don't love what we do anymore. So I think it's really training and education. I always say that's more important than selling, because to me, if I'm trained and educated, I'm automatically going to sell something. That's just a given. So lastly, these are the brands that I work with currently. Belle Océane is a really beautiful gel mask. It's a nice add-on. I work with Innersense Organic Beauty, a gorgeous organic hair care brand, and Homage, which pays homage to our beautiful luxury male clientele. So these are my current brands that I work with. So if anyone's interested, you can definitely hit me up for some samples. I'd be happy to share. And that is it. That is the close of our hour. So I so appreciate all of you guys. You're amazing. Please connect with me anytime. I am always an open door. I love to meet new people and talk with those that I've known for a long time, bounce ideas. Again, it's all about connecting right now more than ever during these really tough times. So if anyone wants to share any last minute thoughts.
Anyone? Bueller? We had another Bueller moment. We seem to have some of those. Kayla, will you plug in your email address in case anyone would like to get in touch with you? I will note that we will go ahead and publish this onto our website. We'll put it on the public part of our website, at least for the time being. Kayla, I noticed that that your doc is confidential. I can certainly keep that off the website and they can request it, or if we can do a link, that's great too.
We'll just go ahead and share away.
Perfect. We're going to share away. So we'll have a link to her presentation so that you can review that. Obviously, please keep in mind that she's put a lot of time and effort and work into this. So, the information is confidential, but it's certainly there to utilize to help your business be better. I will also, she is a Canva goddess. You are right. I love Canva.
No, you are, Holly, not me.
I was inspired by you. But yeah, keep an eye out for this on our website. I will go ahead and post all of that information on social media. I will also send out an email once that is ready to go. And then, man, we have a calendar full of events coming up. We actually have commitments all the way through mid-September. Published currently on our website is through the end of August with events that we have coming up. Typically, you can plan to connect with us every Tuesday, usually at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And that will be, today was an exception. And then we also have Wellness Wednesdays. Our next one is the 19th of August. You do not want to miss that. If you have not joined a Wellness Wednesday conversation yet, do. It's really, really good. We have Vail Relationship Institute here engaging in a conversation of how to be mindful in all the madness. It's been really eye-opening and a wonderful way to connect kind of outside and get real outside of our everyday business. So I look forward to seeing every one of you next week and then some. Share the love, invite your friends, invite your employees, invite your coworkers. Everybody is welcome to join us, and I will absolutely look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.